All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you have a question for Belinda, please raise your hand. Please state your name and your media outlet before your question. And we'll do one question per journalist. And if we have time at the end, we will circle back. To kick things off, Belinda, why don't you just tell us how you're feeling to be back here at Indian Wells after some time?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Um, it's great to be back. Obviously, this is the nicest place, the nicest tournament, I would say, and that's why it's great to be back. It's very hot here, which is very nice, and I'm enjoying my time here.
All right. Please use the raise your hand function if you have a question for Belinda. Mhm. I see a lot of you in here. Any questions? All right, go ahead, Helen.
I just have a request. I'd like to speak Swiss German. So I don't know who would be interested.
Go for it.
Okay. Hi Belinda.
Hallo.
Und ich wollte sofort fragen, wie geht's dir? Wie geht die Verletzung der Knie?
Ja, danke. Eben, wie ich schon gesagt habe, ich habe extrem Glück gehabt. Ich bin mega froh, dass es nichts Schlimmes ist. Ich probiere jetzt wie alles, dass ich so schnell wie möglich fit werde. Aber wie gesagt, ich bin sehr froh, dass es nicht, ja, dass ich nicht länger ausfalle und dass es einfach nichts ja, mit den Bändern ist.
Mhm. Was musst du genau machen? Es ist viel mehr Physio oder es ist auch mental, nicht, dass es Wasser.
Sorry, ich habe mich gerade verschluckt.
Kein Problem. Ich kenne das auch.
Ja, alles gut.
Ja, also es ist sicher viel mehr, was machst du, Physio oder mental, nur dass man muss es ja vergessen, wenn man will, 100%ig sein. Aber wie viel mehr Physio, wie viel mehr tust du ja, dran arbeiten am Knie?
Ja, also ich denke, es ist sicher von beidem. Ich denke, es ist natürlich viel Reha, Physio natürlich, um das Knie wieder ja, zum Laufen zu bringen. Aber ich denke, es ist auch viel Ausruhen in dieser Zeit. Aber natürlich auch eben das Vertrauen wieder ins Knie. Also ich muss wieder langsam anfangen und wieso das Vertrauen in meine Bewegungen haben. Also es ist natürlich auch mental, das ist klar. Und eben, je mehr Vertrauen ich habe, desto besser dann. Und ja, ich meine, ich habe ja noch ein paar Tage Zeit. Das ist gut, dass ich wie so einen späteren Start habe. Das ist sicher besser für mich. Aber ja, wie gesagt, ich versuche alles, was geht. Und dann sehen wir, ja, ob es langt. Für da.
Alles machen, es ist, weil du bist noch 100%ig fokussiert auf die Finale, um dich zu qualifizieren. Darum ist es sehr wichtig, dass du noch Punkte machen kannst.
Ja, ich meine, das ist ja, ich bin ja nicht das Nummer 8 oder 9 von der Race. Ich bin schon noch ein bisschen weiter hinten. Also es wird natürlich sehr schwer, logisch. Ich probiere es natürlich, aber ich will es nicht forcieren, über Verletzungen darüber auszuspielen. Nur für das, dass ich dann ins Finals rein würde kommen. Hallo?
Ja, ich höre.
Ah, okay, nein, nur der Bildschirm ist weggegangen, sorry.
Ah, okay,
Und
ich bin da.
ja, für mich ist dann auch noch viel wichtiger der Fed Cup auch, wo im November ist. Also ich möchte unbedingt, wie auch bei der Olympiade, für die Schweiz einfach super können spielen und vor allem mit den Mädchen. Ich meine, Jill spielt unglaublich jetzt, Vicky auch. Wir haben einen super Teamspirit, eben die Steffi auch. Also ich fühle, dass wir eine sehr gute Chance haben und für mich ist das eine grosse Priorität. Und deswegen möchte ich auch für den Fed Cup mich schonen und dann dort fit sein.
Mhm. Wenn du sagst Fett Cup,
Oder
Billie
ja,
Jean,
sorry, Billie Jean King Cup, ja.
ich muss auch lernen. Aha, ja, ja, dann es ist schon ein wichtiger Moment, oder? Jetzt, dass du kannst wieder alles gut aufbauen und dass es in Kalifornien ist auch nicht schlimm.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Also es ist sehr schön da und ich finde es auch eine gute Entscheidung, dass ich da gekommen bin. Und da kann ich auch sehr gut eben die Sachen machen. Ich habe sehr gute Bedingungen und es macht sehr gute Laune natürlich, wenn es gutes Wetter ist. Und deswegen ist es sicher super, dass ich da bin und eben schauen und versuchen.
Mhm. Für mich ist das gut. Ich drücke dir die Daumen, dass alles gut geht.
Merci
Bis
vielmals,
bald.
danke. Ciao.
All right, and we have a question in English from Courtney. Go ahead, Courtney.
Hi, Belinda. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep,
Um,
hi.
yeah, cool, perfect. Welcome to California. But first and foremost, I just wanted to know how you're finding the conditions here and making the adjustments. I know the conditions can always be a little bit tricky with the drier air and the balls and things like that. But how are you finding it this year?
Yeah, I mean, usually I really like the conditions here. Always, this didn't change this year. I like that it's flying a little bit more. Of course, you need a couple of days to get used to this. But for sure, I find the courts a little bit slower than they were before, a couple of years ago, and maybe the last years. But yeah, also the big factor in this it's balls. So it's always depending on how the balls are, if they really get big, and if they fly a lot, if it's new balls, and things like this. So it's definitely you need a few days to get used to it, but usually I really like these conditions, and it's suiting me well.
I know that you were speaking a little bit in Swiss German about it, kind of qualifying for the finals and then just kind of the mentality of this section of the season. You've already gone through that, obviously, a couple of years ago with a very dramatic qualifying campaign. But what did you learn from chasing Shenzhen, 2 years ago that you can apply to this qualifying chase?
Yeah, I mean, definitely what I learned the most, and I'm for sure someone that always tries till the very last end, and I think you could see that in Moscow. And I mean, that was great. This will always I will always remember that. But definitely, I think it's important not to chase through, like the health. I think the health is always the most important thing. So when I feel like I need rest, then I need rest. And definitely, this year I'm a little bit more further back than I was last year. I was about 9, always 8, with Kiki Bertens fighting. But now it's going to be a little bit more tricky. Obviously, anything can happen. It's very close because the points is not a lot. But also, what is very important to me then in the end of the year is the Billie Jean Cup for Switzerland. Like in the Olympics, I want to do the best for Switzerland in these competitions, and I feel like it's a great chance for us to do well because I feel like we're all in form right now, and that's why this is also a big goal of mine.
And then if I could, just one last question. It's a little wild to be back at Indian Wells as it was obviously, the site of when kind of everything kind of kicked off, 18 months ago. And I'm just curious, where were you, at that 2020 Indian Wells when you found out everything had kind of, that the tournament was off? And can you reflect on how much things have changed in that time as we return back here?
Yeah, still remember I just landed in like Detroit airport, and I and I found out the tournament is cancelled. So obviously that was a bit of a bummer, of course. But then still we decided to come here, and everyone was waiting for Miami if it's going to happen or no. So yeah, it was a very shocking time. It still feels like it's not 1.5 years ago. And then I remember with the travel ban, we were very lucky to get home in time and everything. So yeah, I mean, of course, a lot of has changed. I think people learned how to deal with this virus and how to live with it, how to play tennis with it in the bubbles and everything. But to be honest, I wasn't thinking it's going to be 1.5 years still here, and it's kind of really sad. It's not good. It's still we still have to deal with this virus, but I think life goes on, and I'm really happy that everyone kind of moved on and found different ways, like press conference in the camera for 1.5 years. It's so I think people get very inventive when you cannot do the same things like you could before.
Thank you, Courtney. Next, we'll go to Molly. Please state your name and your media outlet.
I just don't see the person. I just
You
see a
don't see the part.
black monitor.
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I can see you. Perfect.
Okay, brilliant. Hi,
Okay.
Molly McElwee from the Daily Telegraph. Thanks for your time today, Belinda. I don't know if you saw the news earlier this week that the ATP has completed an independent report into safeguarding, and they're going to study the report, develop a safeguarding kind of policy that's going to include things like domestic violence and abuse. I wondered your thoughts on that. Obviously, you're part of the WTA tour, but the tours do merge at certain events. And I wondered how important you think it is to have those kinds of policies in place, considering allegations around a number of players on the tour at the moment.
I think it's very important. I think it's very good to have this, and I think everyone will tell you the same thing. So, yeah, I'm definitely for it.
Do you think it's something that maybe could have been brought in earlier? Obviously, there's the high-profile case of allegations against Zverev have existed for over a year, and it's kind of taken a bit of time to get to this point. I wondered your thoughts on that.
Tough question. I have no idea. I think, yeah, I have no idea. I have no experience with it. I didn't think about it, but I think they're good now, obviously. Yeah, I think it's good to have them. I'm not sure if we had to have them before or not. It's very tough for me to judge because I was not in this situation, but I think it's very good to have it.
Great. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time, Belinda.